Hey guys, and welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, what we will be doing is we will be creating a custom Django model field. What I mean by that is that right now this user model has about 4 fields defined: email, is underscore active, and staff profile pic, and there are obviously other fields which are being inherited from abstract based user and permission mixin. But all of these fields are default Django model fields. The models.email field, models.boolean field, all of these come by default with Django. But Django also gives us the ability to create our own custom fields, fields basically which we can cater to our own needs. And in this video, I'll show you guys an example on how you can go ahead and implement your own Django model field and implement your own logic. So I've already created this file by the name of fields.py, and what I will do is I will first go ahead and define the name of my Django model field. But before I do that, I need to first decide what is the purpose that this Django model field will serve. So the purpose that this Django model field will serve is that it will be a character field, but what it needs to do is every string that gets input into it and it's stored in the DB, whenever it is extracted from the DB and it's rendered, let's say on the front end, or even if it's returned through an API call, that string needs to be in uppercase all the time. I don't need to explicitly call a dot upper after I've gotten the results. The Django model field should do that for me. It should return the results in an uppercase format. Just an example. Obviously, I can do a lot more, but for this video, this is what our task is going to be. So what I'll do is I'll first define the name of my I'll define the name of my model. It will be upper string field. Yeah, that's a reasonable name. And let me just do pass over here. That's good. And what I will do is I will import my models, and upper string field will inherit from models.character field. So right now, this is very straightforward. If I use upper string field, it is no different than models.character field. There is nothing different right now. Obviously, I can overwrite lots of methods in models.character field, but this alone won't get the job done. So what I can do is either I can implement the logic of how I am going to return all of the string values in uppercase over here, or I can create a mixin. So what I will do is I will create a mixin like this, and this mixin will contain all of the logic which will be used to return the strings in uppercase format. Now what I have done is I already have the code written, but I will go through it line by line just to give you guys an example of how this is done. So the first function which I need to define is def from underscore db underscore value like this, and this will take a couple of arguments. Let me just copy this over here, and don't worry, I will be pushing this code to Git so you guys can implement this yourself and play around with it. That's the first function which we'll be defining, and the other function which we'll be defining is this one: get underscore db underscore prep underscore value. So what is the purpose of these two functions? Well, as the name suggests, from db value, what this does is whenever the value is extracted from the db before it is sent forward to the API or to a view, this from db value will run certain number of checks, or it will, you can say, pre-process it before that value which has been fetched from the db can move forward towards a view towards a custom HTTP response. So this is basically a pre-processor before a value that has been fetched from the DB can move forward towards a view. Get DB prep value does the exact opposite. Before a string or a value is input into the DB, it will go through a certain number of pre-processes which this function takes care of. So let's say I have a value which I want to save in the DB. This is the value, this is the DB, and before it can go into the DB directly, it needs to pass through a certain number of checks which are handled over here in get DB prep value. and only after those checks have been, I guess, implemented in past can the value be saved into the DB. So yeah, I mean that's all the theory. Let's implement this. So first things first, I will, because of the fact that it's going to be a string, if this is my first check, if not is instance value comma string. So I'm just making sure that if the instance is not a string, I need to raise an exception. Value must be string. That's the first check that I'm trying to implement. Actually, this should be implemented not over here. I apologize. It should be implemented over here because this is where the value will be input into DB. So yeah, this should be implemented over here and not over there. Expected indentation block. I think I did implement the indentation block. Okay. Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah. So in this case, what we need to do is we just need to fetch the value and we make sure that we pre-process it. I will assume that all of the values that will be returned from the DB will be strings. So no validation needs to be implemented over here. What I need to do is I need to, yeah, so if value, I could, yeah, so what I can do is I can just do return value dot upper like this, and that should get the job done. But what if the value is none? If the value is none, do I need to pass, implement the upper function over here? No, I will not, because I think that will probably be as an error. So if, because there is a possibility that we can have null values in the DB. So if value is none, we just return the value as it is. We don't need to do anything else. So I think this will get the job done for us. And for get DB pref value, I don't need to do anything. I just need to make sure that this is as it is. I don't need to implement dot lower dot upper over here. The only thing I need to do is that I need to make sure that the value that is being passed is a string and nothing else, which get dbpref value is doing for me. And then what I will do is I will implement this over here, return super dot get dbpref value. So what I'm doing is I'm basically overriding that get dbpref value using the super call over here. Not so much clear on the theoretical part of why I need to do this, but yeah, I mean, if you guys want to give it an in-depth look, Django docs are out there, and I'll paste a link to the docs over there as well. But the main point to take from this is that this is what will be used to pre-process the value which will be input into the DB, and this is what we will be used to pre-process the value which has been extracted from the DB and now is moving towards a view. That's the main theoretical point which you guys should be absolutely clear on. Okay, so now I have created my two functions over here from db value get db pref value. I think these should get the job done. Let me just do something. Now I have my custom model field ready, and what I will do is I will create a new variable, and it will be uppercase field, upper string field actually, not uppercase field. But I need to import it first. That's why it's not being from dot. Oh yeah, sorry. It should be uppercase string field like this. It was uppercase field because I was practicing on this before. Upper string field, max length 264 because it's a character field. We need to define max length. Null can be true because we can have existing values. Lang can be true as well. So with that out of the way, let's go ahead and test this out. Python 3 manage.py, make migrations. Okay, let me see what the migration file holds. So far so good. Migrate. Migration has been applied. Now, how do we go ahead and implement this? Well, it's simple. We do python 3 manage.py shell. And what I do is I do from authentication dot models import user, and I will define a user variable, which will be a new user object, which will take an email like this, and the other variable be random underscore name, which can be my name like this, and then I will call user dot save, and it has saved it. Obviously, now I need to make a fresh call to the DB because this value has been saved, so I need to return it, extract it from the DB again. So I will do user dot objects dot all dot last, because this is the last field which got saved, and I get an error that argument of type none type is not iterable. Oh, this should be not in none, is none. So I made a mistake over there. Let me just resolve this because it's going to take time. I'll have to unmigrate the changes, migrate them again, and then open the shell again. Small typo on my end, but I will be back with you guys in a minute. Just bear with me. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, small typo at my end, but what I've done is I I will rerun a new example. It is working, but I want to show you guys how it's working. So what I'll do is I will create a new user object. I'll just call it user1. User like this. Email can be new@gmail.com, and the what is, yeah. So variable name is random underscore name like this, which can be K9922, and then I will do user1 dot save, and now let me just refetch this from the DB again, and I will call user dot random underscore name, and here you go. I fetched the value which was initially all in lowercase, but now that I've returned from the DB, it's in uppercase, so that is working. Now what I want to do is I want to see whether this exception is raised or not. So what I'll do is I'll do user dot random underscore name, and I'm going to make it a number, and let me see what happens if I call user dot save. So that actually got saved. I'm not sure. Value must be string. Let me just try to fetch this from the DB and see what we get. Okay, indentation error over here. User dot random underscore name. Oh, okay. So I think what happened is that the 900 which I originally applied to it has been saved as a string, which is I'm not sure if it has to do the terminal, whether the terminal is considering 900 as a string, but yeah, that validation should have been raised. I don't know why it wasn't. Let me try something else. Integer like this. Does that work? Yeah, that's actually working as well. Yep, it's accepting numbers as well. So maybe integers are something that can be converted because it's a character field, right? It is inheriting from a character field. So character fields can probably accept numbers. What I will do is I will let you guys look into this. It's something you guys can explore on your own if you like. But otherwise, if you guys enjoyed this video, feel free to give it a like, for that helps me out a lot. I hope you guys learned something new. I try my absolute best to make content which can prove beneficial to the viewers, because I personally have faced these challenges in my day-to-day jobs, and I just want to share what I've learned. It only helps solidify my concepts and also gives me the hope that it will probably help someone else as well. So till we meet again in the next video, this is Mohit Dodi signing off.